Welcome to a very special video today. So I'm here in Hangzhou in China and I've got my hands on a Polestar phone which I'm going to test. So I'm gonna unbox it now and then go outside and shoot a couple of photos and test it out, like how well the phone is actually behaving and what are the functionalities and so on, and then stick till the very end of the video in which I'm possibly going to compare it with, I'm an Apple iPhone user, but also maybe with the NIO Phone. Let's see. So let's start with the unboxing first. This is the Polestar phone in the original box. It's actually a rented phone from the Polestar employees. Shout out to Ash, who's on Twitter. I should tag him. He is responsible for Geely relations, PR relations as far as I'm concerned. And his team, they've been super fast in responding to my request of getting one of these. I've seen the phone actually in the Beijing Auto Show, during the Beijing Auto Show, but I did not have enough time to really test it out. And so here we are, very grateful that this happened so quickly and responsive. This was a great demonstration of operational efficiency by Geely and the Polestar team here. And now let's look at it. So I'm going to unbox it in a Casey Neistat way, just throwing things around with one hand. Let's see if I need to open it. Yep, it's sent with EMS. Let me see if I can use the room card actually to open it. That works. I should say I have to return this phone later this week, so this is not a gift. I'm not sponsored by Polestar or Geely in any way. Nice, so it's a white phone. There's been a little bit of a Apple-like wrapping around it. If I take it out, this is it. This is how it looks. It's obviously not a brand new phone. You can see some touches here. This must be because this is a phone that they'll be sending to a couple of people to testing. So far, it looks very solid. Let's see what else is in the package. Oh, nice. Like even a little case here. Okay. Everything in the yellow grayish design from Polestar. So this is USB-C to USB-C. And what's this? This is a Chinese charger. Let's see if I have to charge it. Okay, that's about it. So pretty plain, simple, just like the design of Polestar cars. And now let's dive into what this brings us. Going to start it. I guess this is how I started. Maybe push one button. Yep, powered by Android. Okay. Android in China is becoming more and more difficult. Polestar OS. So I'm going to tell you more about the OS in a second. But now first let's have a look. So it's starting up, it's having, great, it's 98% of battery, even though I've have it now for a couple of days without use, so it's not losing much battery. I don't have to charge it today, but I can certainly start taking pictures. That's what I want to do today. I have to say, as an Apple user, I'm not very familiar with Android operating systems. As you can see, here in Hangzhou, it's not a perfect day today. It's a bit cloudy, unfortunately, but we're gonna visit some art galleries and stuff. And let's see what this phone can do in the wild. The following couple of minutes will all be shot on the Polestar phone, as you can see by the watermark here for pictures and here for the normal video footage, which seems that the colors are a little bit graded within the phone. So there are high contrasts and high saturation in colors, in my opinion. I didn't do any post-production. I didn't change any of the settings of the phone. We went to this art gallery type of thing and little offices and restaurants there. One thing I noticed is when I zoom in, you see the switch between lenses visibly. I think that's not as apparent on the iPhone, which gives me more smooth footage when zooming in. That's for me a quite important actually as a content creator. And so I was a little bit disappointed by that functionality of the Polestar phone. As you can see, this building has been a former factory and has been redone to feature those little stores and artsy places. Quite interesting, but on the weekend it was kind of empty. Now here's a little bit of an original sound check. Seems like this place is only open during the weekdays. Unfortunately, let's see, maybe some restaurants and one or two shops here and there are open. I don't know how you like that, but in my opinion, the sound wasn't as clear, a little bit mumbly, maybe a big compression of the file format there. So not high-end sound in my opinion. Again, for the footage and video quality, it really depends on which lens you're using. The further you zoom in, the less detailed it got. Actually quite unsharp when you zoom out. I think the zoom on the iPhone was actually a bit better. But for most cases, like here in this restaurant, the footage turned out really good even when zooming in, and I especially liked the quality of the photos. Later on, we went to another place, more historic part of the town, and this is a bit of street photography like I would usually do it. I tested a bit of the image stabilization, which I think isn't as great as with the iPhone either. Also, again, the old problem here when zoomed in, especially when the light situation isn't as great, then you can see a notable shift in quality, a shift downwards, that is. Overall, it's still producing some satisfactory images and quality. It's just that it doesn't really meet the high-end standards of the iPhone, in my opinion. And that's getting even more apparent in the night footage, especially when zoomed in again. At some point, it's even getting quite unusable when having the wide-angle lens. That's at least in my opinion and according to my video standards. Right, so after having 1 week with the Polestar phone, what is my verdict? Will I replace my iPhone with this new phone? And do I think car makers are on the right track to bring out their own company phone? How will consumers react to it? Will they adapt it? And do I think this Polestar phone is actually better than the NIO phone? Well, the first question is easy to answer. Yes, this phone, in my opinion, is better than a NIO phone. Why do I say this? You haven't seen a NIO phone during the whole video. Well, that's kind of the gist of it anyways, because I have also tried to reach out to NIO in order to ask them whether or not they would provide me with a NIO phone in order to test it, just like I've tested the Polestar phone. And the reply that I've got is that NIO doesn't want to see the NIO phone compete against the Polestar phone and therefore are not sending out any products. And that's unfortunately a shame. That's already why this phone has won. As I said initially, Polestar team was very quick. Within just 1 day, I had this at the hotel. And that shows some operational efficiency and kind of some openness, whereas I'm not entirely sure why NIO was actually not willing to put their phone to the test. I don't think it would have been actually a bad result for them, given that I'm mainly looking at the photo and video outcomes of the phone and the usage of that. I can obviously go out and get a phone or go just to a NIO house. And I also had my hands on the NIO phone when I met with Dong Mai in Munich at the NIO EP Club event. You've seen that. So, it's not really about not getting my hands on the NIO phone, but I just think NIO could actually be a little bit more confident in their own products and definitely shouldn't fear the feedback of reviewers. But anyways, it is what it is, and so I think Polestar here for the win. It makes lots of sense for them to go into this phone making business as well, because this is simply where the industry is headed. NIO was first with that, and I said that this was always the logical step for them in order to have some strategic defense against Xiaomi, Huawei and so on coming into the space. NIO anticipated that. And with Geely, they're actually also doing something very important here. Meizu, you see it on the phone here, is actually a former smartphone company that has now pivoted away from that. Geely bought a stake in the company and created the phone and importantly the Flyme OS, which runs this system. And I think this is the key point for car makers. It's this perfect interaction between the car and the phone, which was not the key focus of this test, to be honest. And second of all, it's because of becoming better and better at mobile software and having this ecosystem and integration. that will be the norm going forward in China with the Polestar phone, with the Geely phones that are coming out, possibly Seeker phone and so on. NIO has its own ecosystem, then we've got Huawei, we've got Xiaomi. Apple is not there yet, no Apple Car, but CarPlay OS, of course, that's available. And so if you're a car maker now, you don't have that to offer. Simply, it's not as exciting for customers anymore. Is this as exciting for me in order to switch from my current iPhone to this new phone? Well, I would say I really like this phone, especially for the build quality and its design. It's really handy. It felt very intuitive, even though I'm not coming from an Android phone. So I think I could have started using that right out of the box without any issues at all. However, what's kind of holding me back is what I've saw with the capabilities for making photos and videos. It's simply not good enough for what I'm personally doing. The iPhone is still much better, and then at a price point of around 1,000 euros or more than 7,000 RMB, I think that's a bit too expensive for me. If I were a Polestar owner, possibly it might be a good second phone, but not doing a switch with those initial capabilities in my case. I can see totally why this makes sense for others, especially as a second phone, as I said, and so I do think there's some merit to that. It's a good phone, but it needs some improvement, especially on the camera side, I think. What I do know now about the NIO phone is that there will be a second generation coming out this summer, which has better chips. They said also that's one reason why they didn't provide me with a phone, because they fear that this phone is superior because it's having newer chips, better chips than the NIO phone. So there will be an upgrade. That's kind of what they told me. So maybe that's a little leak here. And possibly the NIO phone is even better at taking photos and videos. But I simply don't know because I didn't have the chance to test it out for a week. That's a shame, I think. Maybe some feedback for the NIO marketing team and influencer relations and investor relations in a sense, because this is what is making investor confident or not confident in the company in my point of view. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in my next videos.